Texas Gulf coastline will bring you live reports from the devastated areas. Alan has driven hundreds and thousands of families from their homes to wait out the storm. And here at home, the LSTA mass transit issue meets defeat. We'll have complete election results. I'm Dennis Holly, complete live hurricane coverage and all the day's news coming up next on Channel 5 Action News.
Burger King presents The Empire Strikes Back glasses. Collect a different, exciting glass each week, only at Burger King.
Check-in is back and going strong. That's right. Murray Savings Check-in, the best checking account in town, is back. You still write all the checks you need, and Check-in pays 5.25% interest compounded daily, like it has for over a year now. You don't have to wait until January to make money on your checking. You can do it now. Open your Check-in account at any of Murray Savings' 13 locations. Now that's better than money in any bank.
Hey, Mom, you still using Whisk?
I wouldn't use anything else for ring around the collar.
I've got something that does that and more.
I don't believe it.
Gets out tough problems like that better than Whisk.
I don't believe it.
Would you believe?
Improved Whisk.
Improved Whisk is better than ever. These tough, greasy stains will prove it.
I didn't think they could make Whisk any better, but they did.
Sometimes daughter knows best. Try Improved Whisk. It's better than ever.
Shotgun Willie, fake gas, stays alive. Shotgun Willie lays back at 55.
Hello, this is Willie Nelson, reminding you that driving 55 can save gasoline and save lives.
Laid back at 55, the Texas way. From KXAS TV, this is Channel 5 Action News.
Good evening, I'm Dennis Holly. Hurricane Alan has gone ashore near Brownsville. We have word from meteorologists that tornadoes, high winds, and heavy seas have pushed water inland and caused a great deal of destruction in the Brownsville area. Action News reporter Charles Ely is standing by, we understand, live from Corpus Christi. Charles?
Can we get rid of the feedback? Thank you.
Too much. You're on. Okay.
And I'm Charles Ely.
And I'm Harold Taft, and we're live in Corpus Christi.
We've been covering the storm throughout the day. Here's what it looked just a few minutes before we hit the air. We'll give you a little bit more about the storm. Now Harold has a few words on how it's progressing.
Charles, the worst possible situation has developed, and that is that the storm has now just decided to call it hold for a while, and it is stationary at this moment.
Okay, Harold, thank you. As I said, we've been following the storm throughout the day. The governor has asked for the area to be declared a disaster area. Brownsville is without power and water. A TV station there also had its tower collapse, so things are pretty serious in that part of the state. Here in Corpus Christi, there is extensive flooding. We've also had reports there's been some houses torn up out in Port Aransas. The real drama is off Mustang Island in the Gulf. There, a Liberian tanker is resting in the sand. 38 men are trying to ride out the storm aboard that ship. It broke loose from its anchorage. Now the men are just waiting to be saved. The grounded oil tanker is caught in the sand off Mustang Island, just a few miles from Corpus Christi. Any rescue effort by land must cross the JFK Causeway over the Laguna Madre section of the Intercoastal Waterway. 4 attempts have been turned back. This truck is one of several that was stopped by the wind and waves from the leading edge of the hurricane. Our crew followed the last trip to the island, but it was stopped short when police warned the causeway was washing away. The fierce weather has prevented any rescue by the Coast Guard. It appears the ship's crew will have to ride out the storm. All up and down the coast, Texas is being punished by the hurricane. The rising tides and winds are especially dangerous in low-lying areas. The waters of the Laguna Madre are already flooding the streets and yards here in the town of Flower Bluff, but 4 families have refused to leave. They say if they have to drown, they'd rather do it in their own homes. Fred Van Oy and his wife are among those who are staying. He's a commercial fisherman who says he'll take whatever the hurricane brings.
There's no sense in worrying about it till the wind gets up or the tide gets up. The wind's already up.
Why didn't you leave like most of your neighbors?
Well, I didn't think there was any use in it. I'm pretty high here. We're about 12 foot above sea level. And they're not expecting but about a 7-foot tide here, so it really don't bother me that much.
Have they ever been wrong before?
Yeah. Our local weather is something to be desired, really.
Few people on the Gulf are taking the storm as lightly. Few can forget what Celia did 10 years ago, and no one can forget that this one is even bigger. Charles Ely, Nueces County, Texas.
And we'd like to mention that the problem with the color in those pictures was not in your set. It's simply a matter of the storm affecting communications links. We'll have more live coverage from Corpus Christi a little later in the newscast. Meanwhile, thousands of those who left their homes to escape Allen's wrath are spending the night in emergency centers tonight. Action News reporter Doug Adams says the refugees are concerned about the damage their homes will suffer, but they're coping.
By the time Allen was bending palm trees along the coast, many of these people had been inside this junior high school turned shelter for almost 24 hours. Most shelters in the hard-hit areas filled quickly, and fresh water, bedding, and food became precious. As is always the case, it is most difficult for the young, the old, and the poor. But for the people here, the worst part is not the discomfort of sleeping on a hard floor with back against a metal locker. It is the fear that comes with hearing the killer wind outside, the anticipation and uncertainty about what's going on outside, at home.
What are you thinking about while you're in here?
Nothing. I was just wondering what's going to happen. I've never been through a hurricane, so...
You afraid?
No, I'm just wondering.
What do you think you'll find when you go outside and go home?
It all depends. I mean, if the hurricane hits here at full force, I'm going to expect a lot of, homes maybe blown down and trees and telephone poles and so forth. A lot of broken windows from vehicles, just like we did during Celia.
Yet almost everyone became convinced hours before that the only thing to do is to cope, to make do.
For some of those here whose worst fears will come true, who will leave the shelter to find homes badly damaged or gone, the coping, the making do, has just begun. Doug Adams, Channel 5 Action News, Corpus Christi.
Many of the hurricane victims left the affected area before Allen began his destructive journey through South Texas. Many of the residents of the area headed toward the Metroplex and are waiting out the storm in hotel rooms here tonight. Many local hotels are booked solid because of the storm evacuations. Their only real contact with what is happening at their homes is radio and television reports, and they're watching and listening and worrying tonight. A light voter turnout today, but it looks like enough people went to the polls to turn down the LSTA issue. Results from around the Metroplex right after this.
16, 74, 75, 66. Oh, 74.
A Style House Prestige mattress from Montgomery Ward could mean an end to nights like this. It has a built-in back support system, edge supports that create a bigger total sleeping area, and incredible surface comfort. If your mattress is not a Ward Style House Prestige, that's a pity. After all,
38.
A mattress shouldn't keep you awake at night.
Wards, we do our best for you.
I'm home.
And it wasn't easy.
This night will be unforgettable. This feeling so agreeable. It seems like nothing's impossible.
Does this mean we're going out?
This night is unmistakably steak and ale.
The steak, the place, the feeling. This night is unmistakable.
We should do this more often.
We aren't done yet.
This night is unmistakably steak and ale. You look better in the clothes you trust to Woolite. Woolite washing keeps the look and feel you love.
No wonder manufacturers of over 200 million fine garments, from swimwear to lingerie to dresses, recommend Woolite. Woolite in cold water safely cleans fine washables without shrinking, stretching, fading. Everything soft, fresh.
You'll look better in the clothes you trust to Woolite.
Trust Woolite.
You dirty dog, bringing home fleas, but they'll be gone with Decon Forgone. Forgone kills more than roaches, wipes out 17 kinds of bugs, including fleas. Kills fleas in carpets, furniture, and drapes. Cause Forgone is an automatic room fogger with Decon power. Wipes out fleas in the whole room. Come back, no bad smell, and no sticky mess. Decon Forgone, more power to you.
The controversial issue of mass transit for the Metroplex appears to have been decided tonight. In Dallas, the proposal for the Lone Star Transportation Authority has been turned down about 2-1, with 76% of the vote counted. In Fort Worth, the decision was about 4-1, with 99% of that vote in. The LSTA proposal specifies that either Dallas or Fort Worth must approve the plan before authority can be established. So the LSTA plan does appear to be a dead issue tonight. In Mesquite, the people there are approving a proposal that would allow R-rated movies on their proposed TV cable system. But in Grand Prairie, citizens are voting against a proposed mass transit system for that city, so it's been a bad day for mass transit in the Metroplex. In other elections tonight, Tarrant County voters in Benbrook have decided to dissolve the Water and Sewer Authority. In Burleson, the charter amendment was passed. Voters in North Richland Hills have approved the sale of bonds for street improvement, but rejected a proposed city charter. In Watauga, Mrs. Noel Meadows is the new mayor-elect, and in Dallas County, Bald Springs voters have turned down a home rule charter. That referendum facing Mesquite voters probably commanded more attention than any other local issue today. That vote, of course, to decide whether R-rated movies can be shown on cable TV in Mesquite. Action News reporter Karen Parfit is in Mesquite as those votes come in.
Dennis, we're at a party sponsored by the group that is for R-rated movies on cable TV, and the people here are happy, although they're not really sure just how happy yet. We had expected to have final numbers by this time, but we don't. Earlier tonight, some of the voting machines here in Mesquite malfunctioned, and that delayed the count here. But right now, with 3 out of 5 of the polling places reporting, it looks as though the pro forces, the people who want R-rated movies on cable here, have about a 700-vote lead. I just spoke with a leader of the opposition group. He claims it's still too soon to tell. The possibility of a court challenge has been mentioned, although both groups say they have to wait until they see the final numbers before they decide what they're going to do. Obviously, these people think they know the way it's going to go. They feel the people of Mesquite have won the right to decide whether or not they want R-rated movies in their homes. And a record number of people is believed turned out here in Mesquite, 7,000 of them. Only 2,000 turned out in the last city election, so a lot of people turned out to vote on their opinion on a controversial issue here. Karen Parfit, Channel 5 Action News, live from Mesquite.
Thank you, Karen. Elsewhere, as delegates to the Democratic National Convention are gathering in New York, the wrangling goes on over the issue of an open convention. Supporters of Senator Edward Kennedy say they are within 25 votes of freeing all the delegates to vote as they choose rather than as they are committed. But Carter's people are confidently moving ahead with their plans for the president's renomination. Action News crews are already in New York City for the convention, and our coverage will begin tomorrow night at 5:30 here on Channel 5 Action News. While all the attention is on the upcoming fight in New York, there is still quite a political struggle going on right here at home. Action News reporter Ed Martell hit the campaign trail today with Republican Jim Bradshaw and Democratic Congressman Jim Wright.
For Bradshaw, it's been a long year. He's been campaigning for Congress ever since he won the Republican primary.
Hi, I'm Jim Bradshaw. We're up against a tough incumbent. Jim Wright's been in Congress 25 years, almost 26 years, so we're having to work hard. We think it's important to get out and meet the people, let them know what the candidate's like, and answer their questions. So we've been doing this since January, and we're going to continue through November to work hard and appeal to the people and ask for their support.
Today, that search for support took Bradshaw and his campaign workers to White Settlement, downtown Fort Worth, and here in Lake Worth. The support he's finding isn't overwhelming, but people at least seem willing to listen. If Jim Bradshaw does lose this campaign come November, it won't be because he didn't work hard enough. Ed Martell, Channel 5 Action News, Lake Worth.
Hurricane Allen is still whirling across South Texas. We'll hear from Action News meteorologists Harold Taft and David Fenfrock right after this.
How long is the warranty on this set?
Just look at that picture.
But the warranty.
The colors are so vivid.
The warranty.
And about this cabinet, it is genuine plastic.
I'm Curtis Mathis. We want you to know about our limited warranty. It's the longest in the business. 4 years. Why is ours that good? Simple. Our televisions are that good.
Curtis Mathis, the most expensive television in America, and worth it.
Oh, we should have bags like this back home.
Our money.
What?
It's out in my suit.
Do you carry traveler's checks?
Yes, Citicorp.
Well, refunds are no problem almost anywhere in the world. There's even a large Citibank right near the Imperial Palace.
Thank you, Mr.
Yama.
Mr. Yama, my wife, Ellen.
That's all right. Don't get up.
Travel the world with us, Citicorp Traveler's Checks.
When I
was a little girl here in Valhalla, there was one store-bought ice cream good as our homemade. Breyers, made with the same pure, simple things we used at home. Chunks of peaches, natural sugars, lots of milk and rich cream, nothing phony and nothing extra. I haven't made ice cream like that in 50 years. Thank heaven Breyers still does.
Breyers, the all-natural ice cream, since 1866.
Royal Optical guarantees it. Yes, and an unprecedented breakthrough. Royal Optical now guarantees to replace free of charge any of our lenses that are broken within 1 year of purchase, and to repair or replace free of charge any of our frames that are damaged or broken within 1 year of purchase. You know, we have to be confident of our glasses to make such a guarantee. That's why the professionals at Royal lead the way with the Royal Guarantee. Royal Optical, the professionals, we guarantee it.
In case you joined us late, Charles Ely and Harold Taft are both down in Corpus Christi tonight covering Hurricane Allen, and we'd like to go back to them now. Charles, how is the damage there?
Now, there has been quite a bit of flooding in low-lying areas. A lot of low-lying homes and trailers have been flooded out. There's also been a lot of small boat damage, especially on the Laguna Madre and some of the channels on Padre Island and Port Aransas. There's also some reports of damage, as I said earlier, to homes in Port Aransas, but that is not confirmed. I just checked with the Coast Guard. We have an update on the Liberian tanker that's resting a mile and a half off of Mustang Island. The Coast Guard tells you that tanker is holding up very well despite the pounding of intense waves. The sailors have taken on extra ballast to force the ship deeper into the firm sand bottom, and they're hoping the ship will stay together until morning so they can be rescued. So far, things are going pretty well for those 37 men. Now, Harold Taft is with us to give us an update on the hurricane. And, Harold, is the storm as bad as we've heard it is going to be?
I think it is. The winds are up now to 160 miles an hour. You know, the worst possible thing has happened, and that is the storm is standing still. Now, the reason that's bad, of course, we're going to be in the storm area a lot longer. It's become stationary less than 40 miles off Brownsville right now. And this is the position that we have on it. 25.7 north, 96.7 west. This is Brownsville. We're at this point right here. The winds now are out of the northeast at 40 miles an hour, but gusting to 65 miles an hour. And believe me, it feels like it, too, with the rain pelting down. And at least we've had a postgraduate course in what rain feels and looks like. We haven't seen much up in the Metroplex, of course. At Brownsville now, the winds are out of the north. They have been up to 50 and 55 miles an hour, but at 10 o'clock, they weren't quite that strong. They had a little lull in them, around 40 to 45. This is the storm. Exactly what it's going to do, well, I think it'll continue to drift on very, very slowly toward the west. This entire section of South Texas, of course, is going to be in for a pounding tonight. And the slower it moves and the longer it takes to move in, the worse the conditions will be. We're in the northwest quadrant of the storm. The most intense quadrant is the northeast quadrant. And as that moves on now into the shore, we're going to see our winds pick up, possibly up in excess of 100 miles an hour along this coastal area, almost up to Corpus Christi. The hurricane winds extend 75 miles to the north and about 50 miles to the south. So that's pretty much the situation that we're in right here. Now, the temperature is holding pretty steady at 77, and that may sound comfortable, especially with the wind blowing 64 miles an hour. But the humidity is 90% right now, and that, of course, makes it a very, very miserable night. Exactly what does the rain look like, and what does it feel like when we're up to 65 miles an hour? Well, it's stinging right up against your face, believe me. David, that's the latest we have from Corpus Christi.
All right, Harold, we got a good look at the storm from our eye in the sky, of course. The satellite photo shows the big sprawling mass stationary there just off of Brownsville. If we look at that right now, you can see the big cloud zone and very clearly see the eye of the storm there just off of Brownsville. It will be moving, of course, right on up the Rio Grande. Flash flood watches out throughout all of South Texas. A tornado watch also from McAllen on up towards Victoria. We've already had one report of a tornado in the Freer area, tornado warning there in Duval County, and there will likely be more as the storm sits there spawning the very severe weather all along the Texas coast. In our area, already some high clouds beginning to move in, but no rain in our region as yet. Here on the U.S. map, you can see there are quite a few showers, though, back in the mountains from New Mexico on up through the northern Rockies and scattered along a stationary front across the Ohio Valley. Quite a bit of heavy rain falling in the southeastern sections of the country as well. Now, we'll take a look at the forecast map for tomorrow. And on it, you can see, again, fair and hot out west. But in our area, the rain increasing quite a bit. It will be moving onshore very slowly during the next 24 to 36 hours, drifting up the Rio Grande. And by tomorrow evening, we should begin to see some of the rain beginning to move up into our area. We won't have the torrential rains they've had down south, but we will see scattered showers and thunderstorms Sunday evening on through Monday and Tuesday. So a couple of days of a chance for some pretty good showers in our area. The forecast then for the Metroplex looks just that way. Today we had 101 degrees here at Channel 5, and that was the official high. It won't be that hot tomorrow, though, because we are expecting increasing clouds here during the night, a southeast wind 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday then, mostly cloudy and not so hot, with occasional thunderstorms beginning Sunday evening on through Tuesday. Our temperatures ranging up to about 94 for the high tomorrow, 73 to 90 on Monday, then slowly beginning to warm up again about the middle of the week. So we'll continue to watch it, bring you constant updates here on the hurricane throughout the evening, Dennis.
But it is a little cooler, and that's going to be good. And we'd like to bring you an update. We mistakenly reported that voters in Benbrook had voted to dissolve their sewer and water authority. That is not true. They have voted not to dissolve their current water and sewer authority, so it will remain the way it has been out in Benbrook. Meanwhile, football season began tonight. As all sports fans probably know, the Cowboys took on Green Bay in an exhibition game, and Steve Harms will have the highlights when we come back.
When it really counts, put Bridgestone between you and the road. Count on Bridgestone tires, twin steel belts for strength, plus continuous quality control checks for uniformity and balance. Bridgestone steel-belted radial tires for your import or domestic car.
When it really counts, put Bridgestone between you and the road. Bridgestone.
Check the yellow pages for your Bridgestone dealer.
Haverty's has it. We've got it all.
Would you believe $5.99? $5.99. That's Haverty's extra special price on this Bassett 4-piece contemporary bedroom, which includes roomy 9-drawer triple dresser, vertical frame mirror, fuller queen-size panel headboard, and the chest. The nightstand is also sale priced $129 now at Haverty's.
Haverty's has it. We've got it all.
Each week, the Merv Griffin Show presents the best in contemporary entertainment, and you are our special guest. Join the in crowd this week on the Merv Griffin Show.
Tune in as superstars from all over the world appear on the Merv Griffin Show weekdays at 3:30 following the daytime drama Texas. Merv Makes the Stars Shine, weekday afternoons at 3:30 on Channel 5.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys 1980 debuted tonight, and I want to tell you, Steve, I am really glad to see the season just about to open.
You're a football fan. And
a real football fan.
I'm not going to talk about from where you came in terms of...
well, I came from so many places, we don't really have to get into that. It'd take
all right, hour. The Cowboys, regardless of where Dennis, Pittsburgh is one of the places, but we won't talk about that, came from. Take on Green Bay. As far as I know, you had nothing to do with Green Bay, and the Cowboys are having a lot to do with them. 10-7 right now in the fourth quarter. Let's pick up the highlights out of Texas Stadium as this... the very first Cowboy exhibition game is underway. And Rafael Septien got things going. It was a 48-yard field goal, 3-0. That gave Cowboys the lead, 3-0. And then Ed Too Tall Jones, watching from the left side, boom, knocks that one down. And that made it an aborted field goal right from the 22-yard line. All right, they're handing me notes here. Let's get back to the action. As Green Bay took the lead here, this Bill Troop pass to Andre Thompson, that made it 7-3. And that's the way it went into the third quarter. And then the Cowboys went to work. Danny White, his first start as a Cowboy quarterback under a regular situation, scrambles, looks for Jay Salty, finds him, watching, nice catch as he was hit by 3 Green Bay Packers. Salty held on to it. Then the Cowboys, and Salty has a word or two there for the Green Bay Packer. Then the Cowboys had some work cut out for them. They had all kinds of trouble as they got down very close. Finally, Tony Dorsett across with the touchdown to give the Cowboys a 10-7 lead. The Rangers are, as far as we know, tied up at this point 3-3. They fell behind early in the ball game with the Detroit Tigers out at Arlington Stadium. Let's take a look at what happened in that one. As the Tigers whitewashed them last night 8-0, and it looked as though they were going to do the same thing tonight. It was 1-0 in the 7th inning when Jim Lentine has this base hit. That brings Tom Brookins around to score from second base.
and the Tigers led it 2-0. Then Steve Kemp with a base hit. This still in the 7th inning. That made it 3-0 as Lentine scores. And that's the way it looked like it was going to end. But in the 9th inning, the Rangers came back. Now watch this. Mickey Rivers, bases loaded. They picked up 1 run. That brings across 2. Right now, the last we've heard is 3-3. All right, scoreboards today we don't have, but we'll tell you what happened in... Now, Dennis, did they say we do not have this?
They
Well, all
sure
right.
did, yeah.
Chicago over Boston 5-4. Milwaukee beat Cleveland 4-2. Oakland over Seattle 2-1. Kansas City and Toronto. The last we knew was tied up 3 apiece in the 14th inning. Baltimore over New York 4-2. Minnesota. Now, this is in case you need to memorize these scores. We're going to leave them up there. Minnesota over California 2-0 in the 2nd inning. Over in the National League, it was Montreal and Chicago. They split a doubleheader. Philadelphia losing to Pittsburgh 4-1. It was Los Angeles over Cincinnati 9-4, 5-4. San Francisco over Atlanta. St. Louis over New York 9-6. In the 5th inning, Houston over San Diego 5-3. Jack Nicklaus has a 3-stroke lead after 3 rounds of the PGA Golf Tournament in Rochester, New York. He had a 4-under par 66 today. That gives him a 3-stroke lead over Lon Hinkle. And then way back in the pack is Gil Morgan and Andy Bean. They are 1 over par. Terry Deal and Curtis Strange are 2 over par. And the Hurricane has taken care of the scoreboards and everything else tonight. The Cowboys, as far as we know, are taking care of the Green Bay Packers. You can see the replay of that game tomorrow here on Channel 5.
Okay, and I want you to know, officially, the Cowboys have been one of my favorite teams.
Well, you've been everywhere. You probably had to say that a long time.
Still ahead, we'll check back with Charles Ely and meteorologist Harold Taft standing by on the Gulf Coast as Hurricane Allen moves through that area. So please stay with us.
Royal Optical guarantees it. Yes, and an unprecedented breakthrough. Royal Optical now guarantees to replace free of charge any of our lenses that are broken within 1 year of purchase, and to repair or replace free of charge any of our frames that are damaged or broken within 1 year of purchase. You know, we have to be confident of our glasses to make such a guarantee. That's why the professionals at Royal lead the way with the Royal Guarantee. Royal Optical, the professionals, we guarantee it.
Charles Ely and Harold Taft are still standing by in Corpus Christi. We want to go back to them one more time before the show ends for an update on Hurricane Allen. Charles?
Dennis, we've just received a report that the winds have reached hurricane force at Port Isabel. So apparently the severe weather is moving its way up the coast, and we're starting to get things, higher winds up in this direction. Here at Corpus Christi, there's also been some problems at evacuation centers. There are about 10,000 people housed here in schools and other shelters. They're looking for nurses. They're also having some shortages of food, but otherwise things are going pretty well. Now we have Harold for a quick update on the storm.
And right now the storm is beginning to move. The radar operator advises me it's starting to drift a little bit to the north, about 4 or 8 miles an hour, and the worst is yet to come here along South Texas coastline.
Thank you, Harold. And we'll be in Brownsville first thing in the morning to wrap up the damage there and see what the total effect has been of Hurricane Allen. Back to you, Dennis.
Thank you, Charles and Harold. The Bell System, one last story, has been spared a strike by its 700,000 employees. That announcement came at 9 o'clock tonight in Washington, that a tentative settlement had been worked out with the Communications Workers of America, the largest union, with 2 smaller unions expected to reach similar terms. That means the 12,000 Bell workers in this area will not form picket lines at midnight and will be available to help repair the damage caused by Hurricane Allen. So repeating, the planned strike against the Bell telephone system has been averted with a tentative settlement announced tonight. That contract calls for a 30% pay raise over the 3-year life of the agreement. And that leaves us just enough time for one question to David Finfrock, and that is rain. When can we expect rain?
In our area, probably not till about this time tomorrow. We'll see an increase in the clouds, of course, throughout the next 24 hours. They're beginning to thicken up already. Probably no rain until late tomorrow evening. Once it gets started, we'll have scattered showers and thunderstorms on through about Tuesday.
Okay, David, thank you very much. And that's Action News at 10 o'clock. Join us again tomorrow at 5:30 when our convention coverage begins, and we'll also have update reports on Hurricane Allen. And thanks for having us in for news.